All right, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace and love to all the subscribers. Thanks to anybody new locked in. And let's talk about this fight. Okay, Canelo Alvarez takes on Jermell Charlo for all of Canelo's belts. He's the undisputed champ. Jermell Charlo's the undisputed champ right now at 154. Although his WBO belt is getting stripped from him, and Mendoza and Tim Tszyu are going to fight for that. So, but nonetheless, Jermell's going up 2 weight classes. We know this. Canelo, the big cash cow. Question is, there's a few factors in this fight for me, because I was actually leaning towards a Jermell upset quite a few weeks ago. I made a video about that. I was talking about, where Canelo was in his life, and the desire and the energy he had left for boxing. Do you know what I mean? He's had 60 something fights, 65 fights, something like that. He's been boxing professionally since he was 15 years old. He's been in that run he was on in 2020, 2021, when he was just cleaning out the 168 division. It was magnificent, really. He was fighting undefeated champions, I think he fought 4 times in a year against like undefeated top guys. Maybe not all of them, but Caleb Plant. Then he had the Callum Smith win. These were all undefeated champs. There's a couple more. My memory's a bit bad, but I know he was on a great run. His resume is stellar. It really is. But there does come a time where wear and tear is a real thing, and just outside interests as well. I know he's been into his golf a lot, and he's got this new drink which sounds terrible, margarita in a can, but no, I'm not dissing it really. I just, whatever you need to do, great. But my point is, where is he with boxing? Because Jermell Charlo, you could say, and from Canelo's perspective, given that he's already got a massive advantage of Charlo being fairly inactive coming into this fight. The last fight was against Castaño. I'll put the date down exactly when that was, but it was over a year ago. And then obviously the weight difference too. Will there be any kind of complacency going in now? Look, I don't know if you heard that story about the sparring, right? That guy, that Egyptian American guy, I forgot his name. I'll leave it on the screen as well. He just mentioned, and he just did something that you should never do, really, is like reveal what happened in sparring. He was calling Canelo, basically he got gassed after 4 rounds, and just seemed disinterested, something like that. I would recommend you go and check out the interview. It's quite easy to find, but that's what I was referring to a few weeks ago. Whether this is true or not, we don't know. So let's just take that with a grain of salt for now. But it is conceivable that on the back end of this fight, or maybe in training camp, that Canelo hasn't quite put everything into it, right? Which is kind of understandable when you've had so many fights, and what's that old saying that Marvin Hagler, it's hard to get up in the morning when you're wearing pink, I don't know, not pink, silk pajamas, definitely not pink. But that is true though. Do you know what I mean? If you think about that, because it's like all fighters go to this point where, like even when I remember, Amir Khan's a good example, actually, when he had a tremendous heart. He had one of the better hearts in the game at the time, for sure. Warrior. And then, he got outgunned for a couple rounds against Terence Crawford. I was at that fight, and it was a devastating disappointment to see it end like that. I was like, what? But, I didn't expect Khan to put much of a fight. But the point is, he quit. Even someone as brave as that. And I know there's been other ones, like, my memory is not great. Julio Cesar Chavez, I think, might have put the end to a fight and just been like, I can't be bothered with this no more. Roberto Duran, obviously the famous one, that was slightly different maybe, but who knows why he quit. But the point is, fighters of all caliber just get to the point where it's such a brutal job and it's such a graft. Even look, you could say Golovkin, and I gave Golovkin a hard time against Canelo, because I was like, oh man, you didn't try, people are paying for this, blah blah blah. Golovkin, he could have done more in that fight, but look, he's 40. I think the Murata fight took a lot out of him. So it's like, We've seen a little bit of a drop in Canelo's endurance towards the end of the fights in his last 3 fights, definitely. And actually, he's had a long history of this, but he has had patches where he's been much better. But against Austin Trout was the first time where I was like, yeah, he's tired, really tired, late, like mid-late rounds-ish, 9, 10, 11. He was clearly gassed. And he's been clearly gassed in a lot of fights. In the Bivol one, he was, but I think he was more dejected in that fight, to be honest. I think it was a combination of both, and I just think he's like, I can't beat this guy. Do you know what I mean? He just sort of a dejected face on Canelo. So you match that with Charlo, who has been in camp since maybe the end of June, very early July. I want to say, because I was following his trainer, Joan Guzman, and you know, he was posting pictures of them training, working on lateral movement, stuff like that, and working on the pads, and it looked energetic. And I was like, all right, if Charlo's coming in with a serious energy, and his energy right now is like it's like very calm. Do you know what I mean? He's normally really angry, but it's nice to see him just like calm and ready to go. And that's where the playing field can get maybe not leveled out, but matched to some degree. You know, he's going to have his advantages to some degree, I think, Jermell, where Canelo's at right now. And that sparring story was really eye-opening. And I wasn't that surprised, to be honest with you, because I did talk about it in that video I made. I was like, where is Canelo with his energy? You know? So, in terms of the fight, technically, look, Canelo likes to come. I think it's going to be similar to like the Billy Joe fight, where Canelo's going to do his thing. He's going to apply that steady, consistent pressure while counter-punching on the front foot with an active high guard, and, you know, slowly break his opponents down, or try to. Jermell is going to have to use his feet. He's got very good feet, and he's got a very good jab. But there are times, and this is just a small thing that I noticed, you know, feel free to comment below if you have any different opinions or you have any insight on how the fight will go. I'd love to hear from you. Hit the like button if you're enjoying it too, and subscribe if you want more videos. But Jermell's jab, very good, okay? But there are times, and he did it against Harrison, I'll pull up a clip right now, where when he's jabbing, and Jermell likes to keep his elbow out a little bit like this, okay, as opposed to your conventional stance like this, which is fine, it works for him. But what that does with his jab is it pushes the jab out like this, and it creates a wider angle, and it gets there in less time, okay? And against Castaño, for the most part, he was shooting straight shots, bam, down the pipe like that, with less time to react, and it gets a straighter, harder shot, okay? And I think his jab is going to be the key, and he's got to be able to get it off consistently. Sharp, hard, not necessarily hard, but sharp, fast, zippy jabs, right? Even if it's to Canelo's guard, because, like, you know, he can push Canelo's high guard back a little bit. A stab jab to the stomach is going to be really important. Jab for I nearly called him Janello. Jermell. Stab jab to the stomach. Sharp jab to the face, even to the gloves. But if he takes too much time, Canelo's a counter puncher. This is where, like, you can't have any tells either, and Jermell for the most part doesn't. But tell meaning, you know, if you move your hand about and then shoot it. I did a video about this. I'll pull the link up here if you want to watch that. It's just a short one, but it was explaining how AJ got caught against Usyk. And if you move your hand like that, it gives a counter puncher or somebody with, you know, elite eyes like Canelo to see that, boom, like he did against Billy Joe, basically. Any kind of movement or any kind of sign that you're going to punch, they're going to read it. So the less time, the straighter the shot, quicker, bam, like that, and then move. He's got to keep that up for the whole fight, actually, I think. Fascinating, really. He's got a lot to do to not get stopped, really, and beat Jermell. But I think he can do it. I think my prediction will come in a minute, because I was going back and forth. But he's got to absolutely stay off the ropes, okay? Against Castaño. We saw that he got clipped with a left hook in an exchange, got hurt a couple of times actually in the same exchange. Cannot afford to do that. He's going to have to try to shut Canelo down and try and clinch him. He's going to be strong enough. He's been doing the weights. He mentioned that might have slowed him down at first. That's a bit of a worry to me, because he's going to need his speed, but at the same time it's a bit of a risk reward, because you're going to get a bit of strength from it as well. I'd imagine they're going to need it somewhat in the clinches, because I mean, at some point he's going to have to fight Canelo, you know, or, you know, fight off the ropes or something like that. I mean, you don't advise it at all, because the exchanges, which are one of the most beautiful things in boxing for me, it's so beautiful when two guys and girls just exchange with each other. It's just like amazing, and it's one of the most raw, beautiful things you can see in sport, is when two fully fledged boxers are just swinging for each other. And there is some tactics to it, but generally it's 50-50. But you keep your chin down, you keep your tight punches, and you keep your face under you, and you get your aggression, and you can be successful. But it's also, you could get clipped. I would recommend him not doing that. Okay, he's got to keep the exchanges to an absolute minimum. Get away from the ropes completely. Use his feet, use his jab, stab jab, fast zippy jabs to the head, to the chest, back to the head, tie him up when he can. And look, Canelo, we'll see how he's going to be down the stretch. Now, I think personally, right, I'm going to say something that people might think is a bit weird or a bit funny, but like the first round, I've always thought about this, right, especially in big fights, especially when you're up against the cash cow and the judges, let's just be honest, is go out and win the first round, okay? And what I know, that sounds like a stupid thing to say, because it's like, well, of course they're going to try and win it. Yeah, it's a feeling out round. Yeah, I get that. But I feel like in a fight like this, when it will go to the cards, Canelo's got a tremendous chin. He's never been down. He's not been hurt too many times, you know. But get a slightly more intense round one. And if you can win, definitely go to win round one. Feel him out, get in there, settle your nerves, get used to the crowd and the energy, and obviously don't give him too much respect. You're gonna have to a little bit, but like what I'm saying is, if there's an energy and opportunity for you to just sneak that first round where it's a clear round, because a lot of fighters, especially Canelo, when he's a pressure fighter, he likes to build into the fight. There are opportunities, and there's none better for me than the first round, especially the back end of the first round, where, you know, if like there's not that many punches being thrown, but then, like, you know, you can see you got to do a bit of clock management as well. All right, if the clock's coming down, it's 30 seconds, and you can see an opportunity to either back him up, get your jabs off, throw a combination, and just, and Canelo gets really lackadaisical at times. You know, he's got a very cool, amazing defense, and he can use that, and you can just back him up. I know it might be a little bit wishful thinking, but you've got to take the little wins, tiny little wins. And I think if Jermell comes out with a bit more energy in the first round and seals that first round, and, you know, continues that on, the mid rounds for me are going to be very important for Canelo, because I think that's where he's going to start to cook a little bit and start to get his timing, and, you know, where he's got his most energy and where he's in the fight. In the back end of the fight, I think Jermell will come through, and, you know, that will be the stamina, you know, that will be the stamina and the will. Stamina and will, okay? Sharp, crisp jab, movement, and no exchanges, no ropes. And I think Jermell Charlo will win. Yeah, I do. I've gone back after hearing that sparring story. I'm like, when you come in with someone that appears to be so prepared, I think, do you know what I mean, for this opportunity, and I think he's really trying to outdo his brother as well, his twin brother. But I think the timing for Canelo is a bit wrong. And I think, you know, look, obviously it's a tall order. I'm not like really like, yeah, I think probably what might happen is it probably will be closer to a draw, you know, where, well, we all know what's going to happen there. But I think it'll be competitive. I think Charlo will win a lot of rounds, especially early and late, and I think Canelo will win the bulk in the middle. I think it will be Jermell on the back foot for the most part. Maybe he'll come on a little bit if Canelo gets tired, which, after hearing that, I expect him to. So that's my prediction. Probably a split decision win for Canelo, but like a potential draw. Maybe Jermell winning if he had it scored a certain way. But intriguing nonetheless. I'm actually going to miss this fight. I'm out of town on the 30th for about a week, so I'll be traveling at the time, but I will catch it. I'll try to do if I can, I'll try to do a post-fight on Sunday, and hopefully I can touch base with you guys. But that's it from me for now. Let me know your thoughts if you have any. Do you give Jermell a chance like I do? I don't give him a big chance, but given everything that I've spoken about, I think there's opportunities there. But obviously, look, Canelo, he's got that beautiful counter punch, like that he could just end the fight at any moment. Do you know what I mean? So there's always that, and there's always the breaking Jermell down. You know, but it's an interesting fight. I like it. I hope you guys get a chance to watch it. I'm out of here, boxing on the edge. Peace and love. Have a great weekend, or a great week even. See you later.